the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of that move in '79?
The only thing was a very strange thing. They were always interviewing me in Salt Lake City, Utah, which up until then I thought was in Europe. And finally, Mr. Battistone, who was the head man, who was a wonderful man, called me in and he says, all right, we're willing to give you the job. I think we can agree on the money here. I think we're okay. He says, but we have been holding out on you. So I said, what's that? He says, we're not staying in New Orleans. We're moving to Salt Lake City, Utah. I said, Salt Lake City? You can move in here. There's nobody here. Who's going to come to your games? You can't support a big league team here. You got a crummy arena. He said, I know, that's why we're hiring you.
And so it began. Frank was hired as general manager, deciding not to take the head coaching position with a team that finished 11th in its conference.
I mean, you didn't even need a marketing department with Frank. I mean, he was a one-man PR machine.
A machine that worked overtime, doing just about everything, making sure there were enough people in the seats to make it look respectable.
You know, I would give tickets to homeless people, anybody, to have people look like they were in the arena. So we struggled through those years, and we got good. And when we got good, everybody jumped on board, and they haven't gotten off.
Frank became head coach in 1981 after Tom Nisolke was let go, and slowly the Jazz improved, thanks to players like Darrell Griffith, Adrian Dantley, Ricky Green, Mark Eaton, and Thurl Bailey.
The first thing that stood out was his humor. Even before I would find out how good a coach he was just hilarious. Frank was just so good at not being too serious when he didn't need to, but getting down to brass tacks in business when it was time to play and it was time to win.
The winning began in 1984, the first year the Jazz made the playoffs. Frank not only coached the All-Star game, but he was also named Coach of the Year.
And the days of saying, hey, come to a Jazz game and see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar were over. Come to the Jazz games and see the Utahjazz.
He's down! He scores!
I don't even think that Frank gets his just due when it comes to him being at the forefront of what this franchise would turn into.
And thanks to the draft picks of future Hall of Famers John Stockton and Karl Malone,
John Stockton sends the Utahjazz to the NBA Finals!
but even with those two picks, the team was nearly sold in 1985 before Larry and Gail Miller saved it. That's a well-known story. But younger Jazz fans may not know the story of Frank's extraordinary impact on the team staying in Utah.
I think it's hard for them to look back when things weren't so prosperous and how much of a difference Frank made in keeping the team here, because he was willing to do whatever it took.
Some of Frank's best memories during his time as head coach were working alongside his son Scott, signing little-known big man Mark Eaton, who turned into a dominant center, and challenging one of his favorite defensive players, Bobby Hansen.
I remember telling Bobby Hansen, Bobby, you can't stop Michael Jordan, all right? You can't stop him. He's the best player that ever lived, all right? I said, but you can get after him. And if he's averaging 36 points a game, see if you can keep him to 30, 29, 28. You give us a chance to win. I said, Bobby, when you play him, come back with blood on your shirt. So anyway, about 3 games in, Bobby comes off the court. He's got a big splash of blood on the thing. I said, Bobby, I love it. He goes, Coach, that's my blood. He goes, he's beating the hell out of me.
He also remembers Karl Malone's serious finger injury in a preseason game that defined his toughness.
Well, in the meantime, while he's sitting on the table, we hear, ah! He takes the finger, straightens it out, pulls it. So says Sparky, our trainer, give me some tape. He tapes his fingers together. I said, where are you going? He says, I'm playing the second half. Sparky says, you can't play, you hurt your finger. He says, I'm playing. He says, how many people you think traveled hundreds of miles to see me play tonight? He said, you think I'm gonna let him down? And he went out and played the second half, he never missed a game. Now, if you had that happen today, we'd have players that would be seeking retirement pay.
And if Frank needed a winning shot?
If I needed one basket, one free throw made, I'd take John Drew. But he was a tough guy, and he wanted to win.
And so did Frank. But after 9 years as